Amina walked through the busy marketplace every morning, carrying a small basket for her mother. The sun was always bright at that hour, warming the dusty ground and making the colors of the fruit stalls shine like painted cloth. Sellers called out prices, children chased one another between the stands, and the smell of fresh flatbread floated through the warm air. Every day felt the same, yet every day Amina looked forward to one moment, the moment she passed the old mango tree near the far side of the market. Under that tree sat a quiet blind man named Kofi. He always sat on the same wooden mat, his hands resting gently on his knees. He never called out for help. He never asked for food. He simply sat there, listening to the sounds of the market with a calm face that rarely changed. Many people passed him without looking. Some did not want to see him. Others thought he was only another beggar in a long line of people struggling to survive. But Amina saw him differently. From the first day she noticed him, something in her heart pushed her to stop. Amina's family did not have much. Her mother sold cooked rice and beans from a small stall. Her father worked long hours repairing broken tools. They earned enough to live but never enough to save. Even so, Amina always found a way to bring Kofi something to eat. Sometimes it was a small bowl of stew. Sometimes a piece of fried yam. Sometimes it was only a cup of warm tea, but she offered it with both hands and with respect. Kofi accepted whatever she brought, always with the same quiet smile. Amina would sit with him for a few minutes before returning home. She liked the peace she felt there, away from the loud shouts and constant movement of the marketplace. She would describe what she saw around them: the goats tied to posts, the bright cloths waving in the wind, the children selling roasted peanuts. Kofi listened to every detail as if each word painted a picture in his mind. He never interrupted her and he never rushed her. His calm presence made Amina feel like her words mattered. At first she thought Kofi rarely spoke because he was shy or tired. But over time she learned that he spoke only when his heart told him to. His words were gentle and thoughtful. When he did speak, it was usually to ask simple questions. "How is your mother today, Amina?" he would ask softly. Or, "What did you learn at school this week?" His questions showed he cared. One afternoon, Amina brought him a small plate of rice with groundnut sauce. She placed it carefully beside him and sat down. The leaves above them rustled as a warm wind passed by. Kofi turned his head slightly toward her voice. "You always sound happy when you come," he said. Amina smiled. "I like coming here." "Why?" he asked. She did not answer right away. She looked at the marketplace and then at Kofi. "Because you listen," she said finally. "Most people do not listen." Kofi nodded slowly. "Listening is a gift," he said. "Some people hear sounds but they do not listen to hearts." His words made her think the whole walk home. Every day she returned with something small to offer. Every day she spoke and he listened. And every day she found herself looking forward to that short moment under the mango tree. Even when she was tired or when the sun was too hot, she still stopped by. She would watch his face as she described things he could not see: the bright patterns of the market women's dresses, the tall stacks of sweet bananas, the sharp movements of the chickens wandering around the stalls. He never seemed sad about his blindness. Instead, he seemed grateful that she helped him see the world through her simple stories. One morning, Amina's mother noticed how quickly she finished her chores. "You like going to the market these days?" her mother said with a knowing smile. Amina felt her face warm. "I just want to help," she replied. But her mother looked at her carefully. "There is helping," she said, "and there is caring. You care about that blind man, don't you?" Amina did not deny it. She nodded. "He is kind, Mama. And he has no one. I feel I should help him." Her mother placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Kindness grows when we feed it," she said. "If you have chosen kindness, then I am proud of you." Those words stayed with Amina for many days. They made her heart feel warm and full. As the week passed, she saw that Kofi was not like other beggars. He never complained about hunger. He never spoke about struggle. He just listened, always with the same calm look. Sometimes Amina wondered who he had been before he became a beggar. She imagined he was once a teacher or maybe a traveler who had seen many places. He seemed too wise, too peaceful, too patient to be just an ordinary man. The marketplace workers had different opinions. Some said he had lost his family and simply gave up on life. Others said he had been blind since birth. But no one knew the truth. No one tried to learn. No one cared, except Amina. One day, while she was talking about a colorful new stall selling handmade baskets, she noticed something unusual. Kofi's head tilted slightly as if he were trying to see her through sound alone. His lips curved into a soft smile. "You describe things with a warm heart," he said. It makes the world feel close. Amina felt proud. She did not know why his approval meant so much, but it did. She wanted to keep talking, keep sharing, keep bringing life to his quiet world. That afternoon, she stayed longer than usual. They talked about the sound of drums in the distance, about the cold mornings that were coming, and about her dream of learning more in school. Kofi's expression softened as she spoke about her dreams. "You have a bright path," he said. "Even the blind can sense light." Amina laughed softly. "I don't know about that," she said. "Sometimes life feels hard." "All lives are hard at some point," he answered. "But kind hearts make the path easier." She felt a strange comfort in those words. It was as if he always knew what to say. As the sun lowered in the sky and the market began to quiet, Amina realized she had been sitting with him for much longer than usual. She stood up quickly. "I must go," she said. "Mama will worry." "Then go, child," Kofi said, nodding. "We will talk again tomorrow." And so she walked home with a calm heart and a small smile on her face, wondering once more who he truly was. She did not know that her simple kindness was slowly opening a door to a story far bigger than she imagined. All she knew was that her time under the mango tree had become the best part of her day, and each visit made her feel more connected to the quiet man everyone else ignored. But he did not ignore her. He listened, truly listened, and in his quiet presence she found something rare: peace in a noisy world. She did not know it yet, but her life was about to change in ways she could never have imagined. The dry season arrived slowly, but once it settled over the town, everything changed. The river near Amina's home sank lower and lower each week until the sandy edges grew wide and cracked. The farms outside the village struggled, and the smell of dust hung in the air every morning. When the wind blew, it carried dry leaves and loose soil through the narrow streets, making people close their eyes as they walked. For families who depended on daily work to survive, life became harder with each passing day. Amina noticed the change first in her mother's food stall. Before the dry season, many customers came early, asking for warm rice and stew. Laughter filled the small space, and her mother's voice mixed with the voices of neighbors greeting one another. But when the dry season deepened, people began to stay home. They tried to save money for water and basic supplies. Every day, fewer bowls of food were sold. Every evening, Amina's mother stared quietly at the pots, realizing how much food was left untouched. Money became tight. Amina could see the tired lines forming on her mother's face. One night, her father sat by the doorway fixing a broken hoe. He moved slowly, as if even his hands felt the weight of the dry heat. Amina sat beside him, watching sparks fly as he sharpened the metal. "It will get better soon," she said softly, though she was not sure. Her father sighed. "When the sky sends rain, then things will change. But until then we must keep going." Amina nodded, though fear tugged gently at her thoughts. She wondered how long her family could manage if things became worse. Despite the hard days, she made sure to keep one part of her routine unchanged. Every afternoon, she carried a small bowl of whatever food her mother could spare and walked to the marketplace. Even if it was only a small serving of rice or a half piece of bread, she took it with care. She would not let the dry season break her promise to Kofi. The marketplace grew quieter too. Many stalls were empty, and some sellers stood without customers, fanning themselves with old cloths. But under the mango tree, Kofi sat just as he always had, calm, patient, listening to the world through sound. The leaves above him were still green, though many had turned brown around the edges. The tree seemed to fight the dry season just as bravely as he did. When Amina approached, Kofi lifted his head slightly, as if he sensed her steps before he heard her voice. "You came?" he said with a small smile. "I always will," she replied. She placed the food beside him and sat down, her back resting against the mango tree. For a moment, she watched the quiet market around them. She wished she could tell Kofi that her family was struggling, but she did not want to trouble him. Instead, she spoke about the weather, the animals near the river, and the silence of the marketplace. Kofi listened carefully, nodding as she talked. After a long pause, he asked, "How is your family?" Amina hesitated. "We are fine," she said, though her voice shook slightly. Kofi tilted his head, hearing the uncertainty she tried to hide. "Hard times do not last," he said gently. "Even the long dry season ends one day." His calmness made her feel braver. As days went by, Amina kept visiting him. She tried to keep her smile bright, even when she was tired, even when she felt worried. Each day she spoke a little more, and Kofi listened in the same patient way, his hands folded peacefully on his lap. He never asked her for more food, and he never complained if she brought something small. One afternoon, when the air was especially dry and the sun hot enough to sting the skin, Amina walked to Kofi with only a small cup of millet porridge. It was all her mother could give that day. Her heart ached with guilt as she set the cup down beside him. "I'm sorry, it is not much," she whispered. Kofi touched the cup gently and smiled. "You bring what you can. That is kindness, not measure." Amina felt her chest warm. She sat beside him, and for the first time in many days she allowed herself to speak her worries. "Times are hard," she said. "The stall has few customers. My parents work so much, but it feels like everything is slipping away." Kofi nodded slowly. "Hardship is like a strong wind," he said. "It tests how deep the roots go." She looked at his face, calm and wise. "How do you stay hopeful?" she asked. He lifted his face toward the rustling leaves. "When I lost my sight, I thought my life was ending," he said. "But I learned that when one thing is taken away, something else can grow. Sometimes we cannot see the good that is coming." Amina listened, feeling a quiet strength grow inside her. Kofi then asked a question he had asked before, but this time it felt deeper. "Amina, what is the dream that lives in your heart?" She looked down at her hands. The wind blew dust across the marketplace, and the sound of a distant drum echoed softly. "I want to study again," she said finally. "I want to finish school. I want to learn so I can help people, my family, my village. I want to teach children who have nothing so they feel they can become something." Her voice shook at the edges, but her words came from a true place. Kofi smiled in a slow, warm way that made his wrinkles deepen. "That is a beautiful dream," he said. "And a brave one. Dreams like that are seeds. They only need time." Amina felt tears prick her eyes, but she blinked them away. She did not want to cry in front of him. Instead, she took a deep breath and let the moment settle between them. The next day she returned again, and the next and the next. Even when the bowl she carried was light, even when she felt tired, she still came. She continued to talk about her dreams because Kofi seemed to truly care. He asked gentle questions. What she wanted to study, what she hoped her village would look like in the future, what kind of school she wanted to build someday. She answered each one with growing confidence. As she spoke more, she realized something important. Kofi did not treat her like a child. He treated her like someone capable of changing the world. That alone made her believe in herself more. Sometimes, the wind blew so strongly that it lifted dust into the air, forcing her to cover her face. Other times, the heat was so intense that both of them sat quietly, saving their strength. But no matter the weather, their conversations continued. Their bond grew stronger. And with each passing day, Amina felt her hope returning, little by little, like a distant cloud promising rain. One late afternoon, after a long conversation about her dreams, Kofi said something she would never forget. "Amina," he said, "your spirit is stronger than this dry season. One day the world will thank you for your kindness." She smiled softly, unsure how to answer. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. She stood up to leave as the sun dipped low behind the rooftops. "Thank you, Kofi," she said. "Talking to you makes everything easier." "And talking to you," he replied, "makes the world brighter." Amina walked home with quieter steps, but her heart felt lighter. She did not know it yet, but each word she shared with the blind beggar was slowly preparing her for a future she could not yet imagine. The morning began like any other, warm and bright, with soft golden light touching the rooftops of the marketplace. Amina walked toward the stalls with her small basket, just as she always did. But as she approached the mango tree, something felt wrong. The air around the tree seemed strangely empty. The spot where Kofi always sat, calm, quiet and unchanging, was now bare. His wooden mat was gone. His small cup was gone. The shade under the tree felt colder than usual. Amina blinked, wondering if her eyes were tricking her. She stepped closer, her heart beating faster. She looked behind the tree, beside it, around it. Nothing. The place was silent. Not even the rustling leaves could calm her. She waited a few minutes, thinking he might appear any moment. But the minutes stretched on, and her worry only grew. She placed the bowl of food she had brought on the ground and sat down on the bare soil, hoping Kofi would show up. He had never missed a day before. Not one. Even on the hottest days, even when she brought very little food, he always sat there with the same gentle patience. But now the tree stood alone. Amina stayed there for a long time before she finally stood up. Something inside her felt heavy, as if she had lost a piece of her day, a piece of her happiness. She went to the closest stall and asked the woman selling tomatoes, "Have you seen the blind man who sits here?" "Kofi." The woman shook her head. "No, child. I did not see him today." Amina tried another stall. The man selling cassava frowned. "He was here last week," he said slowly. "But I did not see him this morning." She went from one end of the market to the other, asking everyone she could find. Some people barely remembered him. Others said they had noticed he was missing but assumed he had moved on. A few shrugged, saying blind beggars sometimes came and went. To Amina, none of this made sense. Kofi didn't seem like someone who would simply disappear. He had never hinted at leaving. He had never said anything was wrong. He had listened to her dreams just days ago, smiling softly as she spoke. How could he just vanish? She felt worry tighten around her like a rope. What if he was sick? What if something happened to him? He was blind, and the world could be dangerous for someone who could not see. The thought made Amina's stomach twist with fear. For the next few days she returned to the mango tree each morning and each afternoon. She set down small bowls of food, hoping he would return. But every day the bowl remained untouched. She asked more people, even shopkeepers she had never spoken to before. But the answer was always the same: no one has seen him. Each night she lay awake thinking of him. She remembered the calm way he listened. She remembered how he encouraged her when she spoke about her dreams. She remembered the deep warmth in his voice when he said her kindness mattered. She missed all of it. She felt a strange sadness that she could not explain. It felt like losing a friend, someone who had been part of her life in a quiet but powerful way. By the fourth day, her worry had grown so strong she didn't know what to do. She sat under the mango tree again, staring at the ground. The marketplace behind her was loud and crowded, but to her, it felt strangely distant. She wondered where Kofi was at that very moment, and whether he was safe or alone. As she sat there, the sound of footsteps approached. They were firm and confident, not like the usual slow steps of shoppers. Amina looked up and saw a man she had never seen before. He wore clean, well-fitted clothes, the kind only wealthy men wore. His shoes were polished and his walk showed purpose. He stopped right in front of her. "Are you Amina?" he asked. His voice was smooth and respectful, but it made her heart jump. She stood quickly, brushing dust off her skirt. "Yes, I'm Amina. Who are you?" The man looked around as if making sure no one else was listening. Then he bowed his head slightly in greeting. "My name is Daniel," he said. "I was sent to find you." "Sent by who?" Amina asked, her voice shaky. The man smiled. "By Kofi." Amina felt her heart stop for a moment. "You know him? Where is he? Is he safe? What happened to him?" Daniel lifted a hand gently. "He is safe," he said. "And he wishes to see you." Amina blinked, confused. Relief washed over her, but so did a wave of questions. Why had Kofi left without telling her? Why send someone dressed so finely? Why had no one in the market seen him for days? None of it made sense. "Where is he?" she asked again. Daniel nodded toward the far end of the town. "I will take you to him. He is expecting you." Amina felt a mixture of excitement, confusion, and fear. She looked back at the empty space under the mango tree one last time before following Daniel. Her footsteps felt unsure, but she kept going. She needed answers. They walked through streets she knew well and then into a part of town she rarely visited. The houses here were larger, cleaner, and painted with bright colors. Children played in quiet yards, and dogs slept peacefully under the shade of tall fences. Amina's heart pounded. Why would Kofi be in a place like this? Daniel led her to a large compound with tall metal gates. 2 guards stood at the entrance, but they stepped aside the moment Daniel approached. Amina stared in surprise. She had never been inside such a place in her life. The garden inside was full of green grass, even though the dry season had turned most grass in town yellow. Flowers bloomed in neat rows. The air felt cooler here, almost peaceful. Daniel led her through the garden, then stopped near a shaded courtyard. "He is inside," he said gently. "Go ahead." Amina took a slow breath, her heart beating like a drum. She stepped into the courtyard, unsure what she would find. The place was quiet, too quiet. Only the sound of a small fountain echoed softly through the space. Then she saw him. Kofi sat peacefully on a wooden chair, dressed in clean clothes she had never seen before. His hair was neatly trimmed. His face was calm as always, but he looked different, healthier, stronger, almost glowing. Amina froze. She could not move. She could barely breathe. Kofi lifted his head, sensing her presence. "Amina," he said softly with a voice full of warmth. "I knew you would come." Her legs shook as she stepped forward. She wanted to ask 1,000 questions at once, but no words came out. Kofi smiled gently. "Do not worry," he said. "All will be explained." In that moment, Amina knew one thing for certain. Whatever truth he was about to reveal would change everything she thought she knew about the quiet blind beggar who sat under the mango tree. Amina stood at the entrance of the courtyard, unable to move. The sunlight fell gently across the tiles, and a soft breeze carried the scent of flowers. It felt like she had stepped into a different world, a world far away from the dusty marketplace she knew so well. Her eyes stayed fixed on the man sitting calmly in the middle of the courtyard. It was Kofi, but it was not the Kofi she knew. He wore fine clothing, clean, well-fitted, and elegant. His hair was neatly trimmed, and his skin looked healthier than she had ever seen it. Even though he still sat with the same quiet posture, something about him felt completely transformed. Amina felt her heart beat faster. She took a small step forward, her hands shaking slightly. "Kofi," she whispered. He lifted his head gently, turning toward her voice. His smile was warm and familiar, and for a moment she saw the same man she had sat with under the mango tree for many weeks. "Yes, Amina," he said. "I am here." Amina moved closer, slowly, afraid the moment might disappear if she rushed. She could not understand what she was seeing. The simple blind beggar she had fed every day now sat in a beautiful courtyard surrounded by wealth. She felt lost in confusion. "Why are you here?" she asked softly. "What happened to you? Why did you disappear from the market?" Kofi raised his hand slightly, inviting her to sit. A wooden chair had been placed across from him as if someone had prepared for her arrival. Amina hesitated, then sat down. "There is something I must tell you," he said. "Something I should have told you long ago." Amina leaned forward, wanting to hear every word. "My full name is Kofi Mensah," he said quietly. "I am not only a blind beggar. I am a wealthy man. A very wealthy man." Amina blinked, stunned. For a moment she thought she had misheard him. Her mouth fell open slightly and she stared at him in disbelief. "A wealthy man?" she repeated. You are rich?" He nodded slowly. "Yes." She shook her head, trying to understand. The man she had seen wearing old clothes, sitting on a worn mat under a mango tree, that man was saying he was wealthy? How could that be true? It made no sense. But why? Amina whispered. "Why would a rich man sit in the marketplace like that? Why would you live like a beggar?" Kofi breathed deeply as if gathering many memories. "For years," he began, "I used my wealth to help others. I funded schools, clinics, water wells, and shelters. People called me a philanthropist. They praised me. They thanked me. But after some time, I began to wonder if the world was showing me its real face. I wanted to know how people treated someone who had nothing to offer, someone who appeared to be poor and weak. I wanted to understand kindness again, real kindness." Amina listened with wide eyes, each word surprising her more than the last. "So I left my home," he continued. "I dressed simply. I sat in the marketplace like any other beggar. I wanted to see if anyone would look at me, not at my money, not at my name, but at my humanity." Amina felt a chill run through her. She tried to imagine what it must have been like for a wealthy man to live like that, to sit on bare ground day after day, to hide his true life behind simple clothes and silent patience. "And then you came," Kofi said, his voice softening. Amina's heart stopped for a moment. "You came every day," he said. "You brought food even when you had very little. You spoke to me when others turned away. You shared stories of your life and you asked nothing from me. You were kind with your heart, not for reward, not for praise." He lifted his chin slightly as if looking at her through the warmth of his memories. "Your kindness touched me more deeply than you can imagine." Amina felt tears rise behind her eyes. She blinked them away quickly. She could not believe what she was hearing. She had simply done what she felt was right. She had not expected anything in return. She had not even known he had anything to give. "I didn't do anything special," she whispered. Kofi smiled. "To people with closed hearts, perhaps it seems small. But to someone who searches for truth, your kindness is powerful. Many walk by suffering and pretend they cannot see it. Many look at a blind man and think he is a burden. You saw me as a person." Amina looked down at her hands, embarrassed and unsure of what to say. Kofi continued, his voice filled with quiet emotion. "During my time in the marketplace, hundreds of people passed me. Some dropped a coin without looking. Some stared with pity. Many ignored me completely. Only a few stopped to speak. But you, Amina, you sat with me. You shared your time, your thoughts, your hope. You treated me with dignity." Amina felt her chest tighten. She never imagined her small actions could mean so much to someone. "But why didn't you tell me?" she asked. "Why didn't you say who you were?" "Because your kindness needed to be free," Kofi answered simply. If you knew I was wealthy, you might have acted differently. You might have felt nervous or careful with your words. I wanted to know your true heart. Amina felt a strange mix of emotions: shock, confusion, relief, and even a little fear. The man she thought she understood was someone entirely different. Yet in his voice, in his gentle smile, she still recognized the same Kofi she had grown to trust. "Do you forgive me for not telling you sooner?" he asked. Amina looked up, surprised. "Forgive you? You did nothing wrong." He smiled again, softer this time. "You are kind even in confusion." Silence settled between them for a moment, but it was not uncomfortable. It was gentle, like the silence under the mango tree. Kofi then leaned forward slightly. "There is something else you must understand," he said. "Something important." Amina held her breath. "You changed my heart," he said. "Not by wealth, not by power, but by simple goodness. You reminded me why I began helping people in the first place. You reminded me of the value of giving without expecting anything. You reminded me of the beauty of everyday kindness." Amina's eyes filled with tears again. She felt overwhelmed. She never imagined her small acts could reach so deeply into someone's life. Kofi continued, "Many rich people lose their way. They become surrounded by people who only want something from them. I was beginning to forget what true kindness looked like. Then I met you." Amina swallowed hard, unable to speak. Her voice trembled even in silence. "You must know," Kofi said gently, "that your kindness has opened a door in my life. And now, I want to open a door in yours." Amina's breath caught in her chest. She did not know what he meant, but she felt the importance in his voice. Kofi folded his hands together. "Your dreams matter, Amina. The world needs people like you, people with gentle hearts and strong hopes. And I want to help you the way you helped me. Not because you asked, but because you deserve it." Amina felt her heartbeat in her throat. She stared at him, stunned, unsure how to respond. "I am Kofi Mensah," he said with quiet pride. "But to you I am simply Kofi, the man whose life you changed." Amina took a slow breath. Her world felt bigger now, almost too big. But somewhere inside her, something warm and strong began to grow. She finally whispered, "I don't know what to say." Kofi smiled softly. "Say nothing for now," he replied. "Just know that kindness has power. And yours has changed everything." Amina looked at him, this man she thought she knew, and realized her life would never be the same again. Amina stared at Kofi, still trying to understand everything he had just told her. Her mind felt full and light at the same time, like she was floating. She had come to the courtyard expecting answers, but she had not expected this. This new world, this new truth, or this new future. She sat quietly for a long moment, trying to breathe normally. Kofi watched her with calm patience. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft. "Why? Why did you bring me here today?" Kofi leaned back slightly in his chair. His fine clothing rustled gently, but his expression remained warm and familiar. He folded his hands together the way he often did when thinking deeply. "I brought you here," he said, "because I want to help you. I want to support your dreams." Amina blinked. "Support my dreams? But I don't even know what dreams I can have." "That is exactly why I want to help," he replied gently. "You have lived your life working hard for your family. You wake early, you sell fruits, you take care of your younger siblings, and you help your mother at the stall. You give and give, but you never receive. You have potential, Amina. You only need a chance." Amina felt her throat tighten. No one had ever spoken to her like this before. No one had ever told her they saw potential in her. She lowered her gaze and whispered, "But I have no money. School costs too much. Books are expensive. I help at the stall because we need the income." Kofi nodded. "I know. That is why I want to support your schooling," he said. "I want to pay for your education. All of it." Amina's head snapped up in shock. "All of it? But why? Why would you do that for me?" "Because you deserve the chance to learn," he said. "You are bright, thoughtful, and kind. These qualities can take you far if someone helps open the door. You opened a door for me with your kindness. Now I want to open one for you." Amina felt tears rise in her eyes again. She shook her head as if trying to wake from a dream. "I can't take your money," she said quietly. "It feels too big. Too much." "It is not too much," Kofi replied gently. "Not for what you have given me. You gave your kindness freely. I give this freely too. There are no conditions." Amina wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. She wasn't used to crying, but the emotions felt too heavy to hold. "And there is more," Kofi continued. "Your family's market stall. I know it is damaged. I know business has been difficult. I want to help rebuild it. Amina froze. She stared at him, unable to speak. Her family's fruit stall had been falling apart for months. The wooden table was weak, the cloth roof torn, and the baskets were old. They worked hard every day, but the stall looked tired, and customers often went to newer stalls instead. Rebuilding it had always been a dream, one they never had the money to make real. You want to help rebuild our stall? She whispered. Yes, Kofi said. I want your family to have a strong start again. I want them to have stability. Your mother works very hard. She deserves support too. Amina felt warmth spread through her chest, but also fear. But people will talk, she said slowly. They will ask why a rich man is helping us. Kofi smiled gently. Let them talk. Kindness needs no explanation. And they do not need to know everything. I will handle things quietly, step by step. No one needs to feel uncomfortable. Amina let out a long breath. Her thoughts were tangled, but her heart felt lighter than it ever had before. Kofi wasn't finished. There is something else I want to offer you, he said. Amina turned to him again, her face still damp with tears. I am creating something new, he said. A community foundation. A place where people from different villages can come for help. A place that gives support to children, mothers, and families who have no one else. We will build wells, provide school materials, support small businesses, and help those in need. Amina's eyes widened as she listened. She had never been part of anything so important before. She couldn't imagine what such a place would look like. And, she asked gently, and I want you to join us, he said. Join? Amina whispered. Me? Why me? Kofi smiled. Because you understand kindness. And because you know what it means to struggle. People like you will guide this foundation with heart, not with pride. I need people who care enough to see others. You have that gift. Amina shook her head slowly. But I don't have skills. I don't know how to work in a foundation. You will learn, he said. And you will grow. I will teach you. Others will teach you. Your voice will matter. You have a way of understanding people. That is more important than any training. Amina felt a trembling excitement rise in her chest. She never imagined she could be part of something meaningful outside the market. She never imagined someone like Kofi would believe in her so strongly. You want me to work with you? She said softly, still unsure if she heard correctly. Yes, Kofi said simply. I want you to be part of this new beginning. For yourself, for your family, and for the people who will need you. Amina closed her eyes for a moment, letting everything settle inside her. It felt like standing at the edge of a new world, one she never thought she would see. When she opened her eyes, Kofi was still watching her with gentle patience. I don't know if I can do all these things, she whispered. You don't have to know now, he said. You only need to take one step at a time. I will walk with you. Amina hesitated for a long moment. She thought about her family, her dreams, her fears, her future. She thought about the mango tree where everything had begun with simple kindness. She thought about Kofi sitting in the dust with worn clothes, how she had spoken to him without hesitation. She thought about how her life had slowly changed without her even noticing. Finally, with a trembling breath, she nodded. I will try, she said. Kofi smiled, and the warmth of it filled the whole courtyard. That is all I ask, he said. Amina felt something shift inside her, like the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter filled with hope she never thought she would have. The sun shone softly over the courtyard, lighting the space between them. A quiet peace settled around them, as if the world itself understood the meaning of this moment. Their unexpected friendship, born under a mango tree, now stood at the center of a new and brighter future. It was a story that would be told again and again, not because it was extraordinary, but because it showed how a single act of kindness could change a life, heal a heart, and open doors that once seemed impossible. Amina felt grateful, nervous, hopeful, and brave, all at the same time. And as she sat there with Kofi, she understood one simple truth. Kindness had changed her life. And now she would help change others too.